Well, welcome artists. We're so glad to see all of you this morning. First thing I wanted to do is not really introduce, I just would like all of our board members to please stand. If you're here and you're on the board, stand up for me. Okay, good. So these are our board members. If anybody has any questions and would like to talk to a board member, I want you to be able to see a face. We have a lot of visitors this morning, which I'm so glad to see. If you are a first time here, coming back, just visiting, everybody stand up who fits in that category. I'll just stand up for a second. All right, before you sit down, don't sit down. You know, it's not going to be that easy. If you'll stand up and just tell us your name. I'm not going to ask you to go into any artistic, what's your favorite or whatever. So we'll start on this side.
Lois Nash.
Okay, Lois, and when you finish, just have a seat.
I'm Michelle Osborne. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
Joyce Bird. I'm 4.
Okay,
Emily Johnson.
thank you, Emily.
Kyle Rogers.
Wow.
Janie Deason. Jill McCool.
Over here we got Joseph Parks. Okay, I know there were more standing up over here.
B. Duggar, I'm sorry, I couldn't get up there.
Not a problem, B. That's B.
Mara Jambor.
Mara, welcome back, Mara.
MJ Dobbins, and I've been a member before, so.
Yes, MJ.
Just
thank
move that
you
in my
for coming
seat.
back.
Judy Kirk. And I was a makeup member for about 3 years.
Okay, Judy, thank you so much. Anybody else back here?
Brenda Marler.
Brenda, thank you so much.
And Denise Hamilton.
Hey, Denise, thank y'all for coming. We're just super excited to have you. And we've got one walking in.
Yep.
What's your name?
Michael.
Michael.
Wastella.
Okay, nice to have you, Michael. Thank you guys for coming. We really appreciate it. As you're joining this club, if you're just here visiting, just to kind of look, see if it is a fit for you, we welcome you. The main thing I really want you to think about as you're joining this club is the way this club really works well is if everybody plays a part. We have so many volunteer opportunities throughout the year. And everybody brings something to the table. That's my favorite saying. Everybody's got a talent outside of art. We need your help to make this. It has in the past fallen on a core group, and they've done it, and they're worn out, quite frankly. So we are really doing a push to get our members involved, and I encourage you to ask yourself, how can I get involved? One of the things that we started on this membership drive was asking that question on that form, and that's why we wanted to know. We wanted to know what your talents are. How are you interested in contributing to your art club? Because this is your art club, not just ours, not just the long-term members, it's everybody in this room. So we really want your help. Now, I have a question. How many of you have a social media account or get on social media at all? Not just art, but personal even. So a lot of you guys. Okay, I encourage you to like Mountain Brook Art Association on Facebook and on Instagram. If you will like it or follow it, when you post your art projects, we see it and then we can share it to our page. I've had a lot of people ask me, why don't I ever get on the, well, because you don't follow us and we don't see it. What I'm having to do is I follow a lot of you guys and I'll see something you post and I'll go, oh, okay, so I run over to Mountain Brook Art Association page and have to look you up and you're not following us. So it's helpful if you will like both pages.
And also the privacy settings on your own page may be such that other people can't share your posts.
Well, that's true. Yeah, if there's not a share button at the bottom, we can't share it. So just keep that in mind because we'd like to get all of your artwork.
Yes.
We like to flood both and just show people how active and what great artists we have. I mean, I think we have the best artists in Birmingham.
Great.
Now, I would like to recognize at this time Gail Hurley, who's going to say a quick few things.
Maybe not as quick as you wish.
Yeah, I got you.
I had a visual aid, oh well. Okay, so the last time we met, I offered to help anybody that wanted to learn more about either setting up an Instagram account, using Instagram for your art promotion, or anything like that, mainly Instagram, not so much Facebook, but they are connected, so there's a plus there, but I'm ready to do that. I'm gonna pass around a, sign-up sheet, and what I'd like to do is just get your name, and I have at least one person that's gonna meet with me briefly at the end of the meeting. If you can't stay, you can just let me know, or whatever. We'll try to figure out what they want to learn and what I can teach them. I am not a guru, I don't know it all, but I'm curious. And I just like to find out about stuff. I mean, Instagram is so useful, just like Kathy said. When you post a picture, another way to bring it to the Mountain Brook Art Association attention is to either send it to them in a message or to tag them, or maybe we can have a hashtag of Mountain Brook Art Association or something. Anyway, there's ways to do that. Second techie related thing, some of you all use the apps and things on your phone or your iPad or whatever to help you with composition, with changing, trying out new colors. I use an app I use several apps, but the main one I use is Procreate. Sounds real exciting, doesn't it? Procreate is exciting because it is a great alternative to Photoshop. It doesn't do everything Photoshop does, but it's so versatile, and I use it all the time. And I just found out the Apple Store teaches free classes, and we can even create our own group class if 4 or 5 of us want to go in, and they provide the iPad, the iPencil, and I've got samples of those items with me, which I can show you later. But if you're interested in the Procreate class, you can check here and just give me your name or email. And then,
I'm gonna
Yeah?
ask a question, so that's an Apple product, though, right?
Yes.
Procreate is available only on Apple, I think. So, and it can be used on any size iPad. I splurged and got a bigger iPad, and it's divine. I mean, I'll never go back. It's just wonderful. But the other last thing is March the 4th, and this is a personal moment. Y'all know what encaustic is, painting with hot wax. I've got some samples over there behind Janet. I'm in a show at Marilyn Wilson's studio. If you remember, Marilyn Wilson was one of the artists we profiled in the artist tour, getting your tour organized thing. March the 4th, during the day, it's a Saturday, and Stevie Tilt's in it, although she'll be out of town, and Marilyn, and it's about eight of us have been playing with fire, and we're calling ourselves the Ladies of the Fire. We're gonna have a sample table where you can try it out and see what it is. We just want people to understand what encaustic is. And since I'm a beekeeper, my beeswax comes in real handy because that's the primary medium, hot melted wax. And anyway, it's very interesting.
What's that date again?
March 4th.
Okay.
And if you want to know about it, I'll send you a personal email, start or something on my list. Okay, we'll start this going around here about the tech stuff. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gail. Also, as artists, part of what we enjoy doing is giving back. And I would imagine most of this room has donated a piece of art for a nonprofit or a special occasion to raise money. We'd like to know about that. Has everybody gotten their newsletter? Okay, if you're brand new, you haven't gotten the newsletter because they went out last week, but fantastic. I mean, really, truly amazing. And Beverly Bates and Janet Sanders are the ones who really helped with spearheading. And it's 24 pages. I mean, it's really wonderful, full of news. We're going to be posting the first 2 pages of the newsletter on our website, which is going to have my welcome and then maybe just the dates of the upcoming items of whatever we've got going on. The rest of the newsletter we'll be putting in a members only section because as Janet pointed out, we don't want to give away all of our goodies just to anybody because if you're a member, you get all the information right there. So you can begin looking. We really want to start looking at the website more and more and utilize that tool. But we need the notes of what you're involved in to continue to make that newsletter so good. We dig, we look on social media. Janet will take pictures if she happens to be at an art festival or whatever we can scrounge up. And they do a fantastic job, but it's a little exhausting.
Yeah.
And so,
Can't be all of them.
Yeah, she can't be, we can't be everywhere, so, and we don't have paid, reporters. I don't know why. So if you guys will send us, and I know our biggest challenge is bragging on ourselves. I bet everybody here will nod their head on this. It's the hardest thing to put yourself out there sometimes, but we need you to brag on yourself because other people want to know what's going on. So those newsletter items can be sent to Beverly Bates, and you can find her on our website. Your email address, I won't try to say it for everybody too. But we need that information. But one of the things that, two things that I'm aware of, Vicki Denneberg asked me, she wasn't able to come today, but she's collecting donations for Mitchell's Place, which is a facility that teaches autistic children. And they've got a benefit coming up where they'll be auctioning off the art. She, as a gift, as a thank you, she has a donation party at her home. So any artist who wants to donate a piece of art, on January 31st at her home from 5 to 7, she's having a party, and you bring your donation, and it's really a very fun gathering. So she asked for those donations. If you can't come to the party but you still want to donate, you can contact me and I'll get it to Vicki because I'm going to be doing that. Is Lisa Pruitt here today? She's not here. She had mentioned that she is also interested. She has adult children, or an adult child at Studio by the Tracks, which is another thing that we have supported in the past. But if anybody's interested in donating their time and their efforts, please see Lisa Pruitt about that. Now, the thing that everybody is really looking forward to hearing about is Nikki Cochran is our show chairman, and she's going to come talk to us about 10 minutes on the show.
Hello, I'm Nikki Cochran. I thought I was gonna have like 15 minutes, but I could try to make it happen in 10. All right, so I want to kind of bring your attention to the website that we have pulled up here and the tab that says Spring Show, because we have all the information and answers to all of our questions right there, and it's all very laid out very clearly. So I'm going to just show y'all some things. If you go to the Spring Show, here we have the Spring Show application. And this has been updated now. However, we're not going to start taking applications until February 1st, so please don't fill out the form until February 1st. Currently, it's not connected to go anywhere, so it'll just go nowhere. You have to redo it. So, so starting February 1st, and it tells you about checking out the guidelines, and it says also to make sure that you check out membership because you do have to become a member to be eligible. So here we have step 1 is to read the show guidelines, because that is going to tell you whether or not you're eligible, what kind of artwork, all the details about this booth, the booth spaces. And if you click on it, it opens in a new tab, and then you can read through that. So this is important to do this before February 1st, because when you start signing up, there's a question saying you have read, click here if you have read everything on that page, and you're also going to click a thing down here that says you agree to everything on this page. So if you haven't read it yet and you're not familiar with what's on there, then you'd be lying when you click that. So just to go back up here, so we have step 1 is reading the show guidelines. So that's that page. Step 2 is you're going to pay. You can either pay through check or online. And it says the fee for this year is $80 for an individual space and $45 for a shared space. So let's see, and this here it says decide if you're going to share spaces. So if you're doing a tent and you're sharing a space, you need to coordinate that with another artist. So you need to kind of have that decided before you apply. And each of you is going to need to fill this out at $45 each, and you're going to need to fill in who you're sharing with. If you're doing an indoor space, I believe you can just you can just say you want a half space, and you don't have to have a specific person you're sharing with. So then you're gonna pay either online, which is via PayPal. It goes to our PayPal account. Sorry, I'm a little bit close there. So definitely be sure to pay first, because you're gonna put in that payment information in the form. Then we've got this one about downloading the promissory form to say that you're gonna, this is the only thing so far that isn't updated. This is still the one from last year, from 2022. And I'm actually gonna try to talk to them and see if there's a way that, since we're doing it here, if we could skip that step. So we'll let you know before February 1st if that is, if that has been approved, or if I can put it into this form somehow, then this will just be removed. So just be sure to read all the steps, and that will help you, answer most of your questions. So then here's the form, pretty self-explanatory to fill it out, and then be sure to click submit at the bottom, and then it'll give you a confirmation, and it'll show you all your answers that you submitted. And then that form automatically is gonna go to the membership, for them to verify your eligibility, to the treasurer, for them to reconcile the accounts of who paid what and everything, and knowing what the different transactions are for, and to the show committee, so that we'll know who's who. And also, if we have special requests, please fill that in here. I have been getting just a couple emails about special requests of where you want to be situated, and that's great. We want to know preferences so we can take that under consideration. And if you would just fill that in here, that would be great, because then we have it all in one place for each person. So that will help us a lot with our coordination. All right, and so I do want to just quickly bring your attention to the show guidelines, and particularly talk through something that we're doing new this year. But just briefly, I'm going to go over the eligibility. So you have to be an active member in good standing. We want you to have attended at least 2 meetings or volunteered in the 12 months before the show. Last year we said 1 meeting, and that was because we were coming right off of COVID, and so there weren't necessarily that many meetings, and there was more extenuating circumstances. Of course, if you do have some kind of extenuating circumstances, you can contact us, let us know. We'll plug you into some volunteer situations, or something that's a volunteer opportunity that you can help with, so that you can participate. So, all right, and then
You might tell them the date, those if you don't know the date of the show.
oh yeah, sorry, the date of the show is May 6th, and that is over here. We have the information about the refund policy. So everything on this page really is very essential to deciding whether or not you're going to do it. You need to be agreeing to the refund policy. You need to be agreeing to, you need to understand when it's going to be, and details about the spaces, acceptable artwork, the type of artwork that we have, that we accept at the show, and what we don't accept. And if there's any questions, please get prior approval, or contact us. Down at the bottom, there's a form here to contact the show committee, and I have it linked to with an anchor link from other places on the website, but it's just going to take you right to this part of the page. So basically, if you have questions, this would be the place to get in touch with the show committee directly, and we can answer your questions. There also, down here at the bottom, is the jury process that applies to anybody who's new, who's never shown with us before. So it'll kind of give you the instructions through that. So the exhibition booth spaces. So this will give you information, several different details about where you can find information. And this is the thing that we're doing new this year. All right, so we have someone who we have a contact through Dee Falls, and so thank you, Dee. Is Dee here? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dee, for the getting us the contact and the information and everything. So what we're going to do this year is we have the opportunity to do tent rentals. So if you don't have your own tent, or you have some reason that you don't want to have to set up your own tent, there is going to be an opportunity to be able to rent, and it's a very reasonable price. A lot of other shows that I've done, it's like $250 to rent tents through them. With this group, it's going to be $90 to $110. So that's very reasonable comparatively. And you have somebody else come and set up the tent for you and do all of that. It's gonna be cheaper depending on how many people will do it and how many we can do all in a row.
That's
So
just the tent, not screens?
that's just tent, yeah, and so we have all the detail, let me scroll down a little bit, yeah. So these are all the detail for the tent rentals. So, what I do want to make sure you all know though, is that this is gonna be, they're actually gonna be 10 by 20 tents. So that means that you're not gonna have space between you and the person that you're next to. You're gonna have to come up with some way of like separating your spaces. And yeah, it doesn't include screens for hanging artwork. You're gonna have to provide those yourself and set those up yourself. Yeah, so there's different extras you can see. I'm gonna go ahead and click on the example images. So this is what they sent me as some example images. So everything will be kind of like lined up all together if you do that option. And we need at least, for us to even be able to do that, we're gonna have to have at least 4 artists who want that, but it is a good option. Also, depending on how full we are, if we have to do full capacity, we may have the tents very close to each other anyways, where your main space, extra space would be either behind the tent or in front of the tent, or like I tend to sit kind of in the middle of the tent with the little table, but so you could do like a door in the back of the tent and kind of sit back there, or you have your storage space behind the tent, that kind of thing. So that is something to consider, that it will be right all in a row, it'll be tight, there won't be that in between the tent spaces option if you do have the rental thing. So there is a place on the form for you to answer that question if you're interested in renting a tent if you're outdoors. So wanted to make sure everybody knew about that new option, which I think is good because it's nice to have that option if you're not ready to invest in a tent and you don't want to do the storage space and all that, and you're not sure if you're gonna do this on a regular basis, just to have that as a opportunity to try it out. I think it's a good option to have. So, all right. So, any questions? Yes.
Okay, so per artist is 90 to 110, and it says it includes a shared 10 by 20. So does that mean per tent it's 180 per? I mean, 2 people.
Yeah.
And then you create your own divider. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So then, yeah, exactly. So you'll still get the 10 by 10 space, just like we normally, everybody's allotted 10 by 10 space, so yes. So they're charging us per 10 by 20 tent. So. Any other questions? All right. Any other questions? Or? All right, great.
Thank you, Nikki. Again, we'll have more information. We just sort of wanted to get that out there so people have a date.
I do want to say also,
Okay.
This page is also updated, so you can read through, I already said, yeah. All the show guidelines page and the form is pretty much updated. So go ahead and read through it and be familiarizing yourself with things. Email us with any questions. All right, you got this.
Okay, thank you so much. A lot of information, but we wanted to sort of get you guys thinking about it, thinking about the show. We had a great show last year, and we're looking forward to a really good one this year. Now I'd like to move on to treasurer and have Charlotte. He's all the way in the back. Charlotte's going to give us a treasurer's report and tell us a little tidbit.
Treasurer's
You have to
report.
get close.
Oh, okay. The PayPal account, we have $2,285. In the bank account, we have $6,342. What I really wanted to share with y'all, when I went to get the mail yesterday, we got this letter from this fellow that is a retired vet from Auburn, and he was a professor of veterinary medicine in Auburn, and he wrote the letter to members of the Mountain Brook Art Association. This is a very unusual letter. I am a retired professor of veterinary medicine at Auburn University. I'm enclosing a copy of the watercolor that I found at the Auburn Opelika Restore. I am a rescuer of talented artists' works. I am also a railroad aficionado. My former students were, anyway, that's about rescuing animals. Anyway, it says, I rescued a frame of watercolor of the former Birmingham terminal, which was raised in 1969. A young lady, very talented, I might add, had the foresight to capture this former Beaux-Arts Byzantine-like beautiful building. My assessment is that this young lady was classically trained due to her senses of proportion and symmetry. Y'all, I'm nervous. I took the watercolor and had it triple matted and placed in a wooden frame with gold accents. In 1969, I was a 20-year-old pre-veterinary student at Clemson University. If you could contact Miss Janet Tillery, please congratulate her on her foresight for saving this building for me. By the way, the site of this building is either a part of an interstate or a tunnel. Just sitting there, actually. Please give Miss Tillery my regards. Sincerely, Charles Hendrick, DVM, PhD. I thought y'all would enjoy that.
Oh, sweet.
And I actually did forget to announce that Charlotte has stepped in as our treasurer. We had elected another member, Cindy Barr, who was unable to fulfill the duties and let us know pretty quickly, thank goodness, and things came up. And so Charlotte graciously accepted the position to help us out after I did a little begging, I have to admit. But she's wonderful at this, and she will do a really good job with our books. So thank you, Charlotte, again.
Yay, Charlotte.
The last item I have on the agenda before we turn it over to the program is I want to talk a little bit about the board met last week, and we see very much the need to improve our website. It is very limited, and at some point when we started it, it was fine. We kind of thought this will work. Well, we're finding that what our needs are and what you guys are asking for, we can't really accommodate as easily. So I'd like Christy to come up. What I'd like you to do is just because she's going to be spearheading a group to look into what do you want out of a website. So what I'd like everybody to do, just real quickly, if you can think of things that you want to see improved on our website or that you find helpful on other websites, any of that is helpful to Christy as she goes forward with looking for this. And you might want to say extra few
Well,
words.
I just, I've had some comments that the website is not really working like we need it to. And when I started working on it, there are many limitations because of the very cheap package that we have. So, as a web designer, I use WordPress. This is WordPress.com, and this is going to be over some of your heads, but some of you will understand. I use WordPress.org, which is customizable. I can do anything with it, but you pay for extra features, blah, blah, blah. This one is WordPress.com, and it is just limited in what we can do with it. We can't even upload a video to it. I'll just put it that way. So in order to have video on the site, we have to put it somewhere else on the web and then embed it, on the page. So I know that doesn't mean a lot to some of you, but I want to know what you want from a website. So what would be the best way?
Just raise your hand.
You can talk now about it, or you can, if you want to think about it, you can send us an email.
Yeah.
Preferably, if you have opinions about it and want to send us an email and want to think it through, send that to socialmbaa@gmail.com. Social, SOCIAL, MBAA@gmail.com. I would love to hear and read thoughts, and sometimes it's easier for me to process thoughts as I read them. So, and we're gonna have a team that's gonna be working on this together. And if any of you are web designers and want to step in and volunteer to take on this task, please let us know too. Because, you know, for those of us who do run a business, this can be a full-time job for a club this size.
Yeah.
So, you know, one person, I work on this, the social media, and do other things for the club. So, you know, editing and uploading the YouTube videos of the meetings can be a task.
There's another volunteer
So,
opportunity.
yeah. So anyway, there's a lot that goes on, and Nikki has been such a godsend to me and all of us because she's very savvy at most of this. So anyway, thoughts, comments?
Do you have anything right now they'd like?
Yes.
How many people would be interested in looking at a video on this site? That might be a clue as
Well,
to,
we
I mean, I think,
we link our demos.
I know.
So, but you may rather go to YouTube for that.
Well, I'm
Which is
just
fine.
asking, I'm asking from a standpoint, how many people in here have ever looked at those videos?
I have.
On YouTube?
I have.
Yeah.
But I-
So over half.
Yeah, I'm just not sure that everybody.
Ruby?
Is there no way to upgrade or up?
We can pay more and upgrade and have a different plan, and that's one of the things we discussed. I just never have, you know, brought that up because I just try to keep it cheap for the club. You know, tried to keep it good but doable. Yes.
Question, what prompted, what opinions or what suggestions came to you that you thought the website needed to be upgraded?
Well, some of the board members just said it's terrible. We need to do something else. So, you know, so
And also with me working on it, I became aware of some of the limitations with
Right.
creating like the show form. A lot of people have said that they would like to have something where it could be all in one, where they're paying within the form instead of having to go first pay and then
Right.
come back to the form and things like that.
Little
So,
things like that
Right.
that we are really limited.
Yeah, we
I
don't.
mean, what is the price annually? 60?
it's like $60 for both the
$60
domain name and the hosting,
For
which
the
is
year.
ridiculously low.
I mean, that's how.
Yeah, it's very, very low, and you know,
And you-
we can
get what you
afford
pay
more
for.
than that, right?
And we can budget for better than that.
Well, it would depend on what we want.
Yeah, that's
I
what we
mean,
need opinions first.
That's an open-ended question with regard to with the way WordPress works. If we decide to go with that, we've had some suggestions to go with Wix or to go with Squarespace.
Is good.
I don't work with those. All the websites I build through WordPress, but they're much more customizable because they're with WordPress.org and not .com. So, and I can add plugins. I can't add a plugin to this. Plugins do all kinds of things for your site that is not available with this. Yes, Gail.
If I can remember my questions. The first one is, if you have looked at a video for about Mountain Brook on YouTube, be sure you click subscribe to that
Yes.
channel.
Yeah.
Because after we get 100 subscribers, if everyone in here did it, would be there, we get our own domain name on YouTube or
Right, that's
something
right.
like that.
We can use Mountain Brook Art Association as our domain on YouTube instead of the number string that is
Yeah,
there
it just
now,
makes
so.
it a little clearer and easier. And then the other thing I wanted to point out was Christy said, send her directly any emails, questions to social mbaa
At Gmail.
at Gmail.
.com.
That is the address you should have in your address directory anyway, because when we do our online voting, we vote online via SurveyMonkey every year
Right.
for like the new board and stuff. That's who it comes
It's
from.
connected to that email address.
So be
Yeah.
sure so that's another reason to
Yeah,
have
so
that in
you
your
wanna
book.
have that address approved to receive email from in your email client. Does anybody else have a question or comment, Ruby?
I just like to make a comment. You said $60 for the upgrade. Well, you know, if it's gonna make your job and make our organization.
No, it's $60 now.
So how often does it increase?
Well, it depends on what we choose to go with going forward as to what the price might be. So we're looking at lots of different options, and we don't really know the prices on those yet, and that's kind of the $60 one is the every 12 months is what we've been working with for the last, I don't know how many years. So.
4 years. It's just very limited.
Yeah, it
We
is.
feel like we could
Upgrade.
do better. A lot
Let's
of people are
upgrade.
going to the website more and more, and, you know, we'd
Right.
like it to be a good representation.
Yeah, it was just kind of there to the side, and really people have become more active on Facebook and Instagram and social media than they have been to go to a stationary website in the past probably 10 years. So we really haven't given it the thought we needed to. Nikki has brought so much to the table, and she has been willing to get in there and create forms on a site that's really hard to create a form on. And to be able to submit that electronically to the people on the board who need to get that information, which is just so efficient. I mean, there's not a more efficient way to do it. So, anyway.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, so socialmbaa@gmail.com. Okay. Real quick, 2 little items. If you're a new member and you need a headshot, because we're also have a directory, I have my camera, so see me after the meeting and I'll be glad to take a good picture if we'd like to do that. Our next meeting, which you know you're gonna might as well knock your two meetings out for the year that you have to be in the show, is gonna be an evening meeting, and this is really geared a lot towards our working folks. So that will be Tuesday, February the 9th, from 6 to 9 p.m. We'll blast this all over so you'll also know, but it will be down at the library since this facility is not open at night. We meet at the library for nighttime meetings, this location for daytime meetings. Okay, that's all the housekeeping I have. I'm going to turn this over to Martha Fulgham, who is our new membership coordinator, and she's going to introduce our, yes.
Is the meeting on Tuesday or Thursday?
February 9th?
Thursday.
Is that Thursday? Okay, maybe I had it wrong. Is that Thursday?
It's on the calendar.
It's a Thursday.
Okay, Thursday. Thank you. I wrote that down right. Okay. February 9th. Okay.
There. Some of y'all might remember me from doing programs a number of years ago. I don't know when it was, but we didn't have all this tech stuff going on, so I'm learning that part of it. But so bear with me on that. I wanted to just tell you we are having Marsha Hodges. She's here and she's going to do our night program and going to do it on watercolor. It's going to be wonderful, I know. And then Amy Collins, who's also here, she'll be doing our March meeting. There she is in March. It's March 23rd. So let me see what else I want to say. I want to tell you to be sure and sign this sign-in sheet if you haven't, because we have door prizes, and that's where we get the door prize from. So go over there and do it if you haven't done that. I will go ahead and introduce Carol. Carol Carmichael, most of you know her. She was one of our past presidents and did a great job with that. And she, I met her several years ago. We've both been in this group for a while, but she received her BA degree in art education, and then she taught for 4 years at the high school level. And after raising her 3 sons, she got into painting. And so she's been doing that for 20 years, and at least 20 years, probably more than that. And she sells her work at fine art festivals throughout the Southeast. She has worked with several renowned teachers, and she teaches workshops in her home. And that's at a studio you have, and you live in Vestavia, right? You mentioned that you might still have space, or do you have any space left in that?
I have a workshop, well, I'll tell her.
She's got a workshop coming up in February. So she may have room for it or may not. Anyway, and she loves, I'll just describe how she describes her work. She says she loves the buttery consistency and forgiveness of oils. Her goal is to keep the work fresh and contemporary with great color, light, and loose impressionistic brushwork. Today she will tell us about painting animals in white. And let's welcome Carol.
Yeah, do you need any help?
Yeah, I'll move that. I'm happy to be here, and I do know most of you, and I do have a workshop coming up, but it's full right now. But if you want to get on the wait list after you see today and think you might enjoy that, it's February 10th and 11th at my house, which is a lot of you. Raise your hand if you've done a workshop. A lot of y'all have done my workshop, so it's fun. Where I live is kind of a cool spot, and my mom cooks lunch for us, and so it's a lot of fun. But right now I am full. I can only have 9 students at a time. But, you know, I might put another date on the calendar, but just let me know if you want to be on the wait list for that, because I don't have anybody on the wait list, so.
We're doing a little rearranging.
Yeah.
I realized there was gonna be a glare over here, I think.
And listen, guys, I don't care, you know, you can move your chairs wherever you want to see. I'll do the best for everybody to see. Not everybody's gonna get to see, but please walk around, and if you need to leave, that's not gonna bother me. So I'm gonna be painting, so I won't be there.
And Christy's gonna be videotaping it, and it will be downloaded onto the YouTube website. So you can probably zoom in and get some close-ups at another angle and stuff like that, right? You want me to help you if you need any?
So, yeah, I've been painting probably for about 22 years, and I pretty much started with oil paints, just.
Everybody listen up, please.
But anyway, so I lived in Tuscaloosa when I started painting. I always knew how to draw, and when I was younger, you know, I would draw, but I didn't, even though I went to Birmingham Southern to study art education, I still didn't really learn much about painting there. I was more of a printmaking minor, so I had to learn how to paint. So that was, about 22 or 23 years ago, and I just found a teacher. Her name was Margie Phelps. I don't know if anybody knows Margie, but she just painted loosely. She did bright colors, and I just loved the way she painted, so I was fortunate to take with her, and she was a good teacher who taught the basics, and I think that's super important, just to learn about mixing colors and all. So today I thought, well, I paint a lot of different subject matter, but probably my very favorite thing to paint is animals, and I love to paint white animals just because I think sometimes they look kind of more contemporary. I'll tell you a little bit about this one. This one, I'm going to show you the way I paint, but the way I paint is just the way I paint. It's not the way to paint, and I paint differently sometimes too. So this one, I paint with oils, but I did an acrylic, just wild colors under the lamp, so that as you see, I like to sometimes let some of the background show through because I feel like it makes it a little more airy. So we'll just pass this around and you can kind of see up close. But a lot of the times though, now and then I paint like that where I'll do an acrylic, colorful acrylics on the as my base. But most of the time I just tone my canvas. And I toned this one with yellow ochre, and I was looking yesterday knowing I was doing this thing on whites. I looked at, does anybody, can I get a cup of water? My mouth is super dry. Anybody? No, Martha? But anyway, I looked at Carol Moraine. How many people are familiar with Carol Moraine? Raise your hand. Well, she has a great book called Daily Paintworks, and I would recommend that book for everybody just because she goes over so many of the basic things that, I think you will learn a lot and it will make your painting get a lot better. But she said when she paints white objects, she tones it like a burnt umber, so it's kind of a non-color. So that color that's underneath your white objects won't really affect. This is dry. A lot of times my toning is not dry. Thank you, Janet. But yeah, most of the time my toning part is not all the way dry. Today it is just because I had to go out of town yesterday, so I did this a little bit ahead of time. But if your toning is not all the way dry, I would blot it most of the way dry, because if you start painting white in it, it's going to turn your colors whatever you toned it with. So I would either paint it ahead of time. And there's a lot of different things that I take into consideration when I'm toning my canvas. A lot of times I've taken with artists like Roger Dale Brown. He paints, if he's going to paint a green object, he paints the toning underneath it a red object, a complementary color. So that's kind of a cool thing. It kind of makes it look like it's vibrating. But for today, just with the white cow, I just did it, yellow ochre. This is not dry or I would pass it around, but knowing I had to paint in front of you guys, I did a little practice. And you know, if this one doesn't turn out today, you can say, okay, well, she does know how to paint. So anyway, this is one here. You can look at it closer if you want to, but it is wet, because I mean, I think, and one of the things I love to do is I love to paint really thick paint. I mean, have you ever seen a painting and said that has too much paint on it? I mean, no. I mean, you can say that doesn't have enough much paint. So that's that. So my picture that I'm working with today, and I'll send these around too. These are some more examples of some animals I've painted that have, you know, that were basically white. So.
And I'm assuming those are yours on the screen too.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, probably my very favorite thing to paint are cows. I mean, and my father-in-law had retired from education and had a farm, and so I started taking pictures of his cows, and now everywhere I go, I stop and take pictures of cows. So, this one actually, I got to go to the biggest Charolais. Charolais is a white cow, if you don't know, in the southeast, and it was in Clinton, Mississippi. So I got to get really up close and personal because the guy had bought a painting from me. So this is the photo that I'm going to work from today.
Nice.
And another little tool, like Gail was talking about, that I think is really good when you're talking about doing values and finding your values is a notanizer. Everybody know that notan is just, this is actually 3 different levels, but you can get the Notanizer app on your phone and just put the picture on there, and it kind of helps you discover where the lightest lights are and where the darkest darks are.
Can you spell that? What is?
Notan, and then Notanizer. Notan. So it's just a little good, I mean, it's nothing cheating about it. It shows you, you know, and this is another little tool I have to help see value. Squinting is super important, but then also if you don't want to have too many wrinkles, just use it. Like I said, y'all can pass that around if you want to, but it's just something you can look through that shows you the values, because especially.
Does it work on your palette as well? Like, I assume
I never
it
thought about
might,
that.
but like you can see if you've mixed the right value of a color.
And I mean, y'all, I am not the value point, so today, it may not, I mean, I'm just, you know, I just paint, and hopefully, you know, it works, but, so I'm gonna learn my, I am going to, I thought I'd just show you the colors I use on my palette, but I paint pretty fast, so, hopefully, I'll get this one finished before, but, so what the colors that I like to use, and the brand I love is Lucas White. I use oil paint, so it's a great color, and I love the thickness of it, and it's pretty cheap. I don't really pay that much attention to how much my stuff costs, but because you gotta have good materials. Okay, so then what I'm gonna do today, I'm gonna put a cool yellow, so I'm using the glasses. This is a Cad Yellow Light, it's a Gamblin'. And then a warm yellow, this is just a Cad Yellow Medium. And it's Lucas, it's not like my favorite thing, but I do, the Lucas White is the white I always use, titanium white. And then I'm gonna put some Viridian on my palette because I love what the kind of grays that can make. And then I'm gonna put, and if anybody wants to get up and look at anything, y'all are not gonna bother me. Then I'm gonna put like ultramarine blue for cold blue. And then I use another color that I use a lot of. It's this Radiant Turquoise by Gamblin'. It's just a fun kind of a warm blue.
Carol, does your palette always have warm and cool of each primary?
Pretty much,
Okay.
yeah. Let's see, and then so for my warm and cool red, I'm gonna use a Quinondrin red. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Does anybody know Quinondrin? I just say Quin red. Okay, so that's a cool red, and then a warm red is just Cad Red Medium. And I should have put my gloves on already. Since I'm getting stuff. I don't paint in gloves all the time, but y'all, I think we should.
Yeah.
Just because of all the chemicals and stuff. I mean, you don't have as good a feel, I don't, when I have gloves on, but, you know, I'll start with them, since I've already have paint all over my hands. And so some other tools, I love, the brushes that I love are rosemary brushes, and you have to order those online. But y'all, the price is so good and the quality's so good. How many people in here paint with rosemary brushes? I mean, they're just the best.
They are good.
I've been probably painting with them for 10 years and I'll never go back to anything else.
Are they synthetic or real?
I think they're synthetic. I mean,
you can get different levels.
Yeah, I love the ivory ones. Y'all can see I'm the messiest artist. I mean, if y'all came to my study, I have paint all over my desk, all over my computer screen, all over my, I mean, it's pretty bad, but so. I like the rosemary long flats, and if you want, did I lose something? So, and you see today I only bought pretty big brushes. The larger your canvas is, if you want it to look looser, use bigger brushes. So, my goal today is to use bigger brushes. And then for, since I do a lot of shows, from time to time I need things to dry, and since I paint with oil, people think, well, oil paints never dry. Well, they do if you use some drying accelerant with them, especially even whites, which is the slowest drying. So what my gels or drying accelerants that I like this Gamblin that is a gel, and you just mix it in with your paints, and it helps it to dry faster. Another thing that Ron Lewis told me about, which I used to use this all the time, but I would usually spill it and waste a lot of money. So this is archival oil, and it's odorless lean. I'll let y'all pass it around because it hasn't ever been opened. But you mix a little bit of that in with your paints, and it helps it to dry faster.
Why don't you send that box around?
Okay.
To
Yeah. So all these things, Alabama Art Supply. So the only thing you can't get at Alabama Art Supply are the rosemary brushes. But you should order some and try them, because this Wind River Arts is who I ordered them through. I ordered them straight from England one time because that's where they come from. I didn't like the quality. It was weird. It was like they were saying rosemary brushes, but it was like I had to send them back because they were just not as good.
What was that?
Wind River Arts. And you have to go to their website, but then you have to call in your order, but they're super nice. And you'll get them in just a few days.
Carol, what size is your canvas?
This is a 20 by 20, I think.
24 by 20.
So this is a 20 by 20. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now, since we're just working with the white cow, I'm just gonna mix up a range of whites. And pretty much the way I do that for making any of my grays is I put a big puddle of white and then add just the slightest dab of color. I'm real guilty, as probably you are, of sometimes adding too much and then you screwed up. So try to use your palette knife and just use a little bit at a time. Also, if you want to, we'll pass this around, but I'm gonna get it back, so I'm gonna use it as a reference today, so I can keep my darks dark. So, y'all, I jump all over the place, and I jump all over the place in my paintings too. So
can I write Notan on the top of that so people can see it? And
so no didn't get that.
Notanizer.
So yeah, the app is Notanizer on your phone, and it's just a great little app. So I will start just mixing my colors, and a couple of other tools I like. Do y'all use these catalyst?
Yeah.
And it kind of spreads your paint out, make it a little bit looser. So what I'm going to do is just make a range of grays. So go ahead and put a little white out there. And I like, in my palette, this is personal preference, I love to do glass on my palette just because it's easier sometimes to load paint on your brush and stuff, but I usually get just like a neutral color thing to put behind the glass. So what I'm going to do for my lightest white, I'm just going to add, I'll see if I can do this in front of y'all, I probably can't, but I'm just gonna add just a teeniest bit, that's probably too much, of just the yellow medium. So this is gonna be my lightest light, because really, this stark white's pretty cold. You need to try to warm it up a little bit. The one color I see I haven't put on there on my canvas yet is yellow ochre. I love yellow ochre. Some people are like, eh, but I personally love yellow ochre. Do you like it
That
too?
and Naples yellow.
Yeah, I love Naples yellow.
Love it. And y'all, like I said, this is just what I do. This is not, you know, I hate it when artists act like there's only one way to do something, so.
Hey, Carol, hold that up one more time so people in the back can kind of see. You've got a row of white at your palette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
If you're not going to run
yeah.
too much.
So basically, I'm just gonna make a range of grays. So this is gonna be my lightest one, and I added just a big pile of white, and I just added a touch of yellow medium in there. Okay, so now, pretty much the way you make grays is you just mix each of the primary colors. A little bit of blue, a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow. It could be any of these blues, you know, but I'll start with just some ultramarine. So I'm just gonna really try just to put a little dab. And I'll go ahead and just use that Quinn red. And just a little dab of yellow. So I'm trying to make this my second lightest day. And y'all making grays, it's just add a little bit of this, add a little bit of that. So what do I add if it's too blue?
Orange or a warm yellow.
Yeah, just add a little bit more. So just add the complement to it if it's going too much one color. I might even just add a little bit of yellow ochre to it. I'm gonna put it down and mix it, and then I'll pull it back up.
Carol,
Uh-huh.
are you mixing your cool primary colors?
You know, it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, I don't really have any set rule. I just try to make pretty grays. So, you know. And then, but the one thing you do have to do is try your hardest to stay true to your values, lightest to darkest. Pretty much any grays. And I exaggerate, if you see the paintings, I exaggerate the colors a lot. And I think you can do that as long as you have a lightest light and a darkest. So, that's still going a little bit too gray. I don't know. I'll leave it that way. So now I'm just gonna make a little bit. You know what I'm gonna do just for fun? And this, I may be sorry, but I'm gonna to make my next darkest gray, I'm gonna add a little bit of iridium. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of that Quinn red. To see what kind of gray I can get there. I'm trying to go darker than this gray. And y'all, seriously, if you can't see, walk up here and just get next to me for a minute if you want to see it better. And after I get these grays mixed, I'll walk around. It's not much darker than that one, so I'm going to add just a little bit more. Well, I can't tell if that's darker or not. I guess, like you said, I should put my little red thing.
The red thing, where is it? Have you gotten it back yet?
I haven't yet.
The filter.
Oh, yeah.
I'll try to do this faster, so I'm just going to put it on the thing.
I'll return it.
So if anybody has any questions about anything else while I'm mixing these up, ask away.
What shows are you gonna be in next?
I'm not doing as many this spring. I'm looking forward to doing the Mountain Brook show if I can get in it, because I know there's limited space. But I'm doing Fairhope in March. Gosh, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. The fall's busier show for me. I have a son who's getting married April 29th, the most popular show weekend, so I don't get to do a show that weekend. That's a bunch of shows that weekend, but I'm excited though to be in West Palm. Where he's getting married. I'm sorry, y'all, this is taking me a while. Once I get painting, it won't be too long.
No, this is part of the process. We need to see it.
So really, y'all, what I'm doing is I'm just trying my hardest right now to make a range of grays from lightest to darkest, and this just looks like a different color, so I can see that I do need to add a little bit more color to that.
Can I take a picture?
Oh, sure. And this is pretty much the way I always set up my palette. White, white here, and then blues, and then the yellows and reds there. Okay.
Carol, you said that you started with acrylic on the background.
Uh-huh.
Do you cover it all with oil after?
Mm-hmm. You know, I've tried painting with acrylics, but personally, I can't really paint the way I want to paint with acrylics. I can't. I love the oil is slower to dry. It's easier to mix. I have painted animals with all acrylics, which that's the one thing I think I could do with acrylics. But when I do still life and stuff, I can't really paint the way I want to do my still life with acrylics. They dry too fast. But, so yeah. So if I do an acrylic underpainting, you always have to go oil. You can't do acrylic on top of oil. You can't do oil on top of acrylic. I'm still working on this. Y'all, that's the thing. I mean, I've been painting for 22 years, and it still takes a while to get your colors down. I know I wanted to learn how to do everything fast in the first day. That just doesn't happen. Okay, so I think I can't tell if that's dark. Does it look a little bit darker?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, now I'm just probably going to do 4 levels of gray.
Is this the size of the palette that you always use at home?
No, at home I have because I have a studio and I can leave it out, I've got an old rolling file cabinet. And so I've made the glass, I got thick glass and put it on top, and it's,
I'm saying that because your puddles of paint are small, and I know your brush strokes are always big.
Yeah, this isn't big enough for me. I'm just doing this kind of small palette because I'm here, but at home, I love the bigger the palette, the better. You just have that much more space.
How do you keep it from drying out if it's big?
I paint almost every day, and if I go out of town, I don't do anything. I just lose a little paint, but I paint often enough. What I used to do when I first started painting is I used these and I put it in the refrigerator, put the top on it, and that's a great thing to do if you don't have the luxury to paint every day. But I pretty much go up to the studio almost every day if I'm in town. Okay, I'm trying to make my darkest gray right now, so I'm mixing a little bit of. Can y'all tell me some of your favorite gray mixtures? Because I know some people have some favorite grays that they do. Okay, not everybody at once. Y'all aren't helping me.
How about trial and error?
Yeah.
The last one you did several years ago, I went out and bought your turquoise.
That radiant.
Mixing it with diazinon purple with a little bit of white is pretty as gray.
Oh, that sounds good. Anybody else have a favorite gray? Amy, what?
Red and Viridians.
Viridian and
white.
Okay. Amy, what gray do you like? It's always a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
A happy accident.
I know, that's what people say. What did you mix to do that? And I'm like, I really don't even remember. I just started putting stuff in there. So I'm trying to make my darkest gray, and then I'm going to bring it around and let you see. I think I'm going to need a darker one, but so you can see it kind of goes from light to dark. So, yeah. But I probably will make one. I didn't even bring any brown today, like to do the eye. I'll just kind of mix up a little bit of brown, but at home I just pull out a little bit of burnt umber and mix it in with some of this red. Okay. About ready to paint here. So pretty much now what I need to do is I need to figure out what my lightest light is and what my darkest dark is. And, today, I'm gonna try, I don't do this all the time, but I'm gonna, start by painting in my lightest lights. Like I said, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. And I do it different, each time.
Who has the black and white photo she's gonna need?
The value.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wants that as a reference.
I went ahead and made a pretty dark,
Okay.
a little bit darker one. So, okay. I think I was pretty happy with the way this one that I got, the lightest light and dark. I feel like the values are pretty good. Like a lot of times I probably don't have enough depth in my paintings. I just like those pretty colors, so I think it is helpful though. If you want to do it the right way, you should have dark, really dark darks and really light lights. So, I want to try to.
Oh,
I'm gonna trip over this.
you are good. I'm waiting for that to happen.
And one thing to do, y'all, is so important. If you have the luxury of getting back, from your painting, do that, because a lot of times I sit at my desk and paint, and it's probably not as good because I don't get up and get back as far. But I really do feel like if I stand up and paint, I'm probably able to keep it a little bit looser. But so I thought I had put some little clips in here to put the painting on, but it would probably stay. This is a cool little light. Y'all probably have these, but it's new for me. Well, here's the clips. It's like a piano light, but it's called Vekia, Vekkia, and you plug it in your a USB cord, and it's just nice to have. And what's interesting to me, like if I have a good image, like I love this image of this cow, I'll paint it several times and it always turns out differently. It never comes out the same way. Maybe that'll stay. Okay. So looking at this, I see my lightest light is like just right in here, and all right, on the notenizer, you can see where your light is light. So it's just a great little way to cheat. It's not cheating. You still have to know how to paint, but it kind of shows you, okay, there's the lightest lights. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I've put a little bit of the gel stuff to add to these whites so that it won't take so long for it to dry, but.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Okay, so I'm gonna, pretty much the way I do it is I just pull some of that gel medium into this. I'm gonna try really hard to go with the big brushes because I think if you want it for it to look looser, that's kind of important.
What size is that, Carol?
This is a Rosemary 16 Ivory Long Flat. You'll have to come feel the way these brushes. Let's see, this is a filbert, which I don't think I'm gonna use, and it's, if y'all wanna pass that around. So, what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and paint in some of my lightest lights. I usually use the flats, the long flats. The way I found out about going ahead and painting some of the lightest lights first, and like I said, I don't do this all the time. Carol Marine, she said, it kind of helps for the whites from getting too muddy if you want to go ahead and start out by painting your lightest lights first. But like I said, I don't always do that, but today I will. thick. Lucas white is very thick, but I don't use much. The only really time I use my Gamsol, and I do use Gamsol because it has less odor to it. I pretty much just when I'm washing the brushes completely, I mean, I just pull the paint out with a paper towel. I love these Viva paper towels, but this is a little bit thick, this white is, so I'm gonna add just a teeny bit of that Gamsol. So I'm just kind of looking right now for some of my lightest whites. I'll go back at the end and use my palette knife to really lay those white lights on. This one little spot right there. So, and I see right there above the little ear. So probably in a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and figure out what color I wanna do for the background, because a lot of times I like to mix a little bit of that background color into the shadows and into the cowl, because I think that just makes more, have a little bit more harmony. So now what I'll do is I'll paint, I've done my lightest whites, which some of y'all can't really see, but I've hit a few things, and I'll go back at the end of the painting. But I'm gonna now do my darkest stuff, which to me is the nostrils, the eyes, and a little bit there under the ears. So I'm gonna use a little bit smaller brush, or a lot bit smaller, just to do those eyes in. I might make this a little bit more brown later for the eyes, but just for now, just to get it locked in. My goal in painting is always to keep it as loose as I can, and lots of times that doesn't happen. But that's when that's when I'm happy, is if I can paint a cow or whatever it is, and I leave a little bit to the imagination. It's not too tight. So, see a little dark over there, a little dark over here. Y'all can see anything.
It's okay.
Sorry.
They can move. Is this your darkest dark?
These are my darkest darks, and so just kind of figuring that out. And so what I'm gonna do, please remember, if you can, do just go back and stuff. I hadn't really gotten too much into the painting yet, but okay, now I'll go ahead and I'm gonna use some of my next, I'm gonna go from dark to light now that I've established my lightest and my darkest. So.
Have you always been a loose painter?
No. When I first started, I wanted to be a loose painter, but everybody, I think, starts and they paint tighter. And then the more confidence you get painting often, it helps, to be looser. But when I only got to paint here and there, I tried to paint loose, but it's gotten better. And I still don't always get it. Most of the time I don't. So now I'm kind of mixing up some of the deeper shadows. See, that's going just a little more purple than I want it to, so I'm going to add just a little bit of yellow ochre to it to make it not quite so purple. I saw that I had too much Gamsol in my thing. It was going to be too loose, so make sure you just sometimes wipe that out if you need to. Just try to think, and I have a note next to my computer. It says, what is it? Think, twice, paint once, something like that. Really. Or think twice, paint a stroke, because a lot of times we're in such a hurry, you know, to paint that you don't think about it, and then you're like, well, why did that color wasn't right? Why did I put that color there? So I'm trying to go for my next color here, and I guess I can also use this again. So see this kind of mid-tone here? I'm gonna kind of go right in there. And a lot of times think about changing the direction of your brush strokes too. Don't always just do the same little stroke. It's pretty dark right here. I could probably just paint this whole painting just from looking at that too. It might be kind of looser if I did. So that might be a good little something for y'all to try and me to try. This still is kind of going a little bit purple, but I'll probably just work on that a little bit. I'm going to go back and smudge things together at some point, but okay, and so for my ears, I'll go ahead and kind of, that's a little darker than what I just painted in the ears. And y'all, as I go, you know, I've pre-mixed these grays, but I'll see I need something a little darker, that's too purple, and I'll just adjust as I go. But I'm trying to think really hard to keep those values right, going from lighter to darker. That's really, I think you can sort of change colors and grays, but. Sort of trying to use both things a little bit as a reference. I'm sorry about you folks over there.
Oh, good, that helps.
It does, man. Goodness gracious.
And I hardly ever paint the tags in it. I don't really like the tags in it. It makes me sad.
I wouldn't
know where they're gonna go eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Someone back here asked if you were a vegetarian.
No. I don't eat a lot of red meat, but I do love a hamburger sometimes.
Oh.
But I just don't think about it. All the cows I paint are not eaten, they're just pets. So I'm gonna kind of do a little bit, scrub just a little bit of color in there so that when I do his hair, you might see a little bit of shadow in there. Okay, so now I'm going to start going a little lighter again. And I'll show you what I do to sort of blend colors together. I'm just kind of blocking it in right now. So this is pretty much what I do. I just pull the paint out. That's one reason my hands bother me a lot, because if you know and you've got arthritis, it's tough.
Yeah, that's a tweak and a tweak and a tweak.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to a little bit lighter gray right now. I decided I wanted to add just a little bit more viridian into it. A teeny bit maybe of yellow ochre. And what I need to do before I put it on there is just kind of hold it up there. That's a lot lighter, but I've done about, well, it's not really that much lighter.
So this is your blending? Is that what you
Not
said?
yet, no.
Okay,
I'll show you what I do when I blend. I'm gonna get in front so make sure I'm doing everything right. I'm trying to let y'all see, but I need to make sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
reads
good.
We
right.
understand.
You're good. You do what you need to do. We'll figure it out.
In case you need this.
Oh, thank you.
Do you ever sketch a subject before you paint it?
Do I ever what?
Sketch. Sketch
You
out.
know, I don't do a lot of that. Like studies, I should, but I don't. I just sort of decide just to paint. So, but yeah, I think that's great, and so many people do that, and it, you know, I just am more impatient, I think. Okay, what I'm gonna do right now, because I mentioned I was gonna do it, I'm gonna decide on a color for the background so I can work it into the cow. And I want it to be kind of in the gray tones, like, I guess I can sort of consider that a gray,
Yeah,
green or.
Celery.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use, to make my background color, you should always use a palette knife to mix your colors. I'm very guilty of not doing that. I use my brush and then you get all this paint stuck in it. So I'm gonna start with a pile of white, and then I'm gonna add a hair.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
I'm gonna add a little bit of iridium. That's a lot of bit of iridium, but I do have a lot of background to cover. But that's way too cold, so I'm gonna start by adding a little bit of yellow ochre. I didn't mean to pick that up. I'll get rid of that. Juggling. So I'm mixing right now. Not that this will be my final mixture for the background, but I've mixed a little iridium and with a big pile of white and some yellow ochre. That's still greener than I want, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of red warm, and just a little bit, because that red, gosh, it can totally change your mixture fast.
You go purple before you know it.
And I still don't really like this green color. Let's see what I want to add to it. Sometimes you have to get a little bit on it. It's not too bad, but
No,
it's
it's really
a little bit cooler than I want. So I'm going to add a little bit more yellow ochre to it. And actually there was a little bit of yellow medium on my thing too, so it helped it go a little bit more green. So let's see how that color looks. Y'all, is that archival medium anywhere around here?
The little bottle.
The little
Gel.
bottle of medium?
Yeah, she needs it.
Oh,
here it is.
Thank you.
Sarah's gonna hang it.
Sarah. And honestly, if you want your paint to be a little soupier, like I'm gonna do the background, you could even use a little bit of this, and because the gel, it thins it, but it, you know, if you want it to go just a teeny bit thinner, I just put like a drop in it. How many people use this archival medium or the?
No, I don't.
I mean, I learned about it from Ron, and I really, really like it a lot. It doesn't have any odor, because some of those mediums that you use have a strong odor, and I don't, you know, if you paint a lot, it's probably not a good thing for it to have a strong odor. I decided I wanted that green to go a little bit warmer, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
And it's still a little thick, so I'm gonna add a little bit of gas salt to it.
Doesn't help it dry.
So I can see how, like Carol Marine was saying, it would be kind of cool, you know, if you just have the little burnt umber or raw lumber background that really doesn't have any color.
I like that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's white. See, just changing the direction of your brush work. And try not to get too close to your palette. maybe letting a little bit of the background show through. You can let it paint into the, so that you don't have this little hard edge. You can find that stuff again later. I'm gonna go ahead and decide where I wanna put a little bit of this color. I think I'll do it kind of here where it sort of transitions in from dark to light. Maybe here a little bit at the top. And then I'll probably paint over some of that, but where the cow's a little bit lighter. Here, there's 3 cows here right together, but I just decided just to hone in on that one. So it's sort of hard to tell what's going on, but
This cow has more attitude than the one in the pictures.
well, you just never know. And a lot of times it depends on your mood, the way the painting turns out too. You know, if you're feeling feisty or mad or happy or whatever, it can totally change the outcome of it. So now, I think what I want to do here, I want to add just a little bit more color to that background and have it go just, I haven't done that yet, I'm just adding a little bit more. I'm going to have it go a little bit deeper color down there. So I'll just add a little bit more of the colors to my mixture. I want to save a little bit of that just if I want to put it in the shadows, but I'm going to go back to my Viridian and my yellow ochre. I think I added a little red, who knows. But it doesn't matter because it can be a different color. A lot of times with the backgrounds, I'll depending on how much space there is in the background, like this little lamb had a lot of background, so I kind of split it into 3 different sections. And that kind of helps you break it, because that wouldn't be as interesting if it was all the same color in the background. So I'm just still trying to make a little bit deeper. Still, it's a little too cool. I'm adding a little bit of that purple into it just because I wanted it to go deeper and not be as, I don't know, I just needed to adjust the color some. The glass palette. How many people paint on glass in here? Like, I mean, on glass, your palette's glass. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I'm watching you.
I mean, you can really push, like when I want to load up paint, I can just push it onto my brush.
Yeah,
you know, where if your paper, it's just, I just love the glass thing. And you can go to Home Depot, and if you're using these palettes, they sell a 12 by 16 piece of glass.
That's awesome.
Plexiglass works real well too.
Does it?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not as heavy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, if you're clumsy like me, you don't get cut.
Yeah. I definitely know about
Good
clumsy.
information.
And this is a bigger canvas, I didn't quite mix up enough paint, but I'll just, it doesn't really matter. Mix up a little bit more. I'm sorry this is taking me so long to mix the colors, but it really, to finish this cow won't take that much longer, so that y'all can be on your merry way. When I was working on that big old building, I don't know if I like that color. It's all right. I'll leave it for now. Actually, I just want to play with adding a little bit of this purple. Because I can. Like, all of it. I add better because I can. I'll just leave that background as it is right now, and I'm going to continue working on the lighter values of the cow. I've actually got a handy white brush here that's not dirty. Okay, so I'm going to go to some of my lighter grays. Cause we're getting into the territory now where it's a little lighter. I decided to add a little bit of yellow ochre to that purple to tone it down so it wasn't quite as purple. I'm a purple person. All my shadows turn out purple. I don't know why, but that's what happens. See, like if I want to load up this brush, it just,
That's amazing.
glass is perfect. I mean, and I'm clumsy, but you just have to replace the glass. Maybe I should get in front of my painting for a second, instead of painting from the side.
Yeah, do whatever you need to do, and then you can back away and we can see it.
It's really purple.
It's not coming off for me that way.
It's pretty purple. But I can adjust that a little bit, and I'll do it right now. So if it's too purple, what I need to add a little bit of yellow ochre.
And from back here, that's already a gray.
Yeah.
Gray, okay.
It's just gray.
I just feel like it's going a lot purple, and I have a problem with that, because like I said, I see purple, and I just don't want to see. I'd rather read more gray than purple. Just trying to make a little darker gray again and kind of add it into those dark tones to make it. And this is going really green. So add a teeny bit of red. But even y'all, like mixing the colors with your palette knife on glass, it just glides.
Amazing, yeah.
Trying to think of this, is this good? I need to make sure it's dark enough, but I was trying to add a little color to tone some of that purple side gray down. Kind of like that green. Okay, I'm gonna add some more. So what I wanna do, what I was telling you that I do when I wanna blend some two blocked in colors together is I just pull all the paint out of my brush, or use a clean brush. I'll just use this clean brush, and I just kinda mush it together.
Okay.
But I don't wanna lose all the brush work, so, you know, but you can do a little bit, and see, that's really, I need some darker. So I'm mixing up a little bit darker, y'all, because I realize my values there's not enough difference in the darks and the shadows, so. I'm telling y'all may have to just look at the small ones.
You're doing great.
Okay, so there, I decided I'm gonna make a couple of definitions here to the eye. I need to remember squint. I haven't been squinting. Okay, what I'll do now, before I do the rest of the lights and stuff, I'll go ahead and mix up a little bit of pink for his nose and a little bit showing on his ears. So I think a beautiful pink is mixing up the Quinn red with white. It just makes a beautiful kind of magenta color. So for the tops, but then if it gets too cool, we'll see. It makes a beautiful, beautiful pink.
Oh, yeah.
But that's too intense.
Right.
And then, so probably what I'll do to tone it down is I'll add just a little bit of yellow ochre to it. and make it not, and I need to add more white. So I need to look like, okay, looking at this and the value, you can see the top part of the nose is lit, you know, it's sort of a mid value, so, and then the bottom part is really, really dark, so I gotta watch that on my values. So I'll start by doing the nose, just the lightest part.
Can I interject that at the next meeting, when we have watercolor as our demo, we're gonna definitely have, zoom in close up so we can project onto some kind of a screen and see up close, because watercolor, you can't do it vertically very easily. So, and we're trying to work that out for today, but the right guy to connect us wasn't here, so we'll do better on that.
Still a little too bright pink. I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow ochre to tone that pink down, because there's still a really pretty pink. Right now I'm trying to make a gray down pink for inside the ears, a little bit darker, because it, you know. But I still need that value.
Did you take your reference photos with your iPhone or with a camera?
I always just use my iPhone, you know. I used to use a camera a lot, but now you always have your iPhone with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to always have, you know, a one with a decent camera. But it's just so easy now that if I stop on the side of the road, which I've done a lot, to take pictures of cows, it's hard because you don't have a zoom lens. So in that case, sometimes on road trips, I will take my real camera so I have a zoom lens on it. But yeah, I mean, if you have the luxury of being close to something, iPhones are great. Remember, y'all are supposed to think before you put your brush on there. I forget to do that a lot of times. I'm trying to mix up a little lighter pink for that reflection on the nose. A lot of times I like to mix that pink in with it too. As long as you can kind of keep those same little values going and it doesn't change it too much. Let's start getting a few of the lighter lights in there. I'm going to go to my almost lightest light. You know, I'm not worried about y'all, all these little pear stuff. I just don't do that. I don't put all that many details in my work. So, I've lost all my grays because this is a small palette for me. So I'll have to sort of make a few more. A light gray. It's a little thick, so I added a little bit of Gamsol just to make it more workable. I'm going to add just a teeny bit of yellow ochre. Let's see how that's gonna be good for, before I get to my last.
Just like that, there's a cow.
Well, I'm not digging the colors that much. I didn't really like this pink in there.
Okay.
Sometimes you can try something and it's like, well, that, you thought it was a good idea. So let me add that darker in that I took out. It's 11:44. I promise I'll be finished in 10 minutes. Or you can leave. Or you can leave. Okay, maybe that's dark enough. Okay, let's see, a couple things I need to define. Let me go ahead. Since I saw what time it was. I need 2 or 3 of this size palette. Adding some of that color down here.
Can I ask the group that's still here, tomorrow at 1:30 at the Apple Store at the Summit is one of those introductory classes. Are there 3 or 4 people that would like to go tomorrow at 1:30? It's the last minute.
Is that for Procreate?
The Procreate class, tomorrow at 1:30 at the Apple Store. If there's not anybody, I won't show up, but I can make a reservation for like 4 or 5 people.
What are they going over?
So it's very much a basic introduction to Procreate on the iPad, what all the tools mean at the tip top, and I did it yesterday, and I think they have you work on a project which is very minimal, but her project was to recolor a photograph, like to outline it, turn it into like a cartoon, and put different colors on it, or there's so much you can do with it. And if you have any general questions, they'll field those questions and stuff. That's okay. 1, Susan, 2, yes, 3, okay, that's good. Need 4 or 5? I'll say 4, tomorrow at 1:30, so get to the Apple Store about 1:20. Now, knowing them, they run a little late sometimes. Sorry, I'm talking over Carol's.
Oh, you're fine, I'm just kind of looking to see
Told
what
me
some
I'm
things I
gonna
could
say
do.
4 people. 4 people? How many did I say? 4. 5? Yeah, I got you.
I do like, since you took the pink out, I didn't think it was that pink, but I like what you put there.
Yeah, it just, it's just a little bit of that. I mean, you
It's
just
very
never
subtle,
know.
but it's a big difference. It even it makes the ears read correctly.
Yeah. I'm gonna get rid of some of this dark here too.
There you go. Finger painting. I like it.
Do you have any advice for those of us who paint really tightly? I mean, like exercises or things to do, or?
Well, I mean, I would just use the biggest brushes that you can. And some teachers I've worked with, like Amber Brown, they're like, try to do a 40-stroke project. Try to paint it in 40 strokes. Just, really just slow down and be thoughtful about what you put down. And really, at the end of the painting is when you make it, a little bit more fun. So, but just paint a lot.
Yeah.
Really, I know for me personally, it was just putting the hours in and gaining more confidence to put a stroke down. Where at first, I think it's natural that you paint tighter. But you paint loose,
Well,
but
yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, that's my goal, is if I could always paint, woods, but it doesn't always happen. Another good reason to wear gloves is you can,
Touch your paint.
touch your paint and not worry about, because sometimes just little stuff like that is kind of fun.
Y'all, we're gonna do the door prizes real quick. If you haven't signed in, quick, get your name on the bottom of the list.
And so now I'm gonna use a palette knife to try to load a lot of white on it.
Right there.
Pretty much white with just my lightest white, with a teeny bit of yellow medium in it. And this is just kind of fun. It's like frosting a cake. Where do we sign?
It's back here.
And then they started.
Yeah, we're gonna draw for door prizes. She's gonna tell us what number she comes up with. We have your number on the list here if you signed in. If you didn't, come over here real quick.
Cat needs to sign up.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
You sign the name. Don't need a number.
Go back there.
Some kind of random thing. And before you leave, Kat, who is walking there right now, brought in a stack of old magazines, art magazines that have all kinds of tips. Doesn't matter how old they are. Who wants to give those all off? So make sure you take one before you leave.
Where are they at?
They're on the sign-in table.
Pat?
With this magazines, the magazines are right there. Oh. Did I win a prize?
No, Pat.
Oh, Pat.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
All right. Even though I can't really see it, I'm gonna do just a little, like there was a shadow hitting his lower lip thing there.
Hey, he's your cow.
He's my cow. Nobody knows what the picture looks like.
That's right.
But you gotta make sense though. You have to like, where the light's hitting it and stuff. So I'm just kind of doing a few more touches on it because it's really time to go. It's pretty close, but I'll probably get home and sing like that.
For the newsletter. Margaret, Bristol? Janice Wood?
So I'm gonna try to make a little bit of brown for his eyes so it's just not purple.
Okay.
Sarah F.
Even though I can't really see it, I think if you put if the light's more over here, I decided to put just a teeny little sparkle in his eyes. It kind of makes it come alive when you do that.
Who donated the door prizes? Who donated? donated the door tokens.
Oh, yeah, y'all, Alabama Art Supply donated these, Pam down there, and so, always thank you.
Yes.
Christie.
Me? You gotta be kidding.
So cute.
So now, I'm really pretty much finished with it for now. I mean, I might do a few things to it later, but just one thing to check yourself on the end is go back and add a lot of thick paint. I mean, just use your really thick highlights there. You want to look for having some soft lines, some hard lines, make sure your values are reading right. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's all right. I mean, it's like. Is it for sale? Sure. But I mean,
How much will you charge for that size?
when I sold a 20 by 20, what did I sell? 24 by 24 is like $6.25. 24 by 20 by 20 is like, I don't know. 12 by 12.
And you change it for different shows?
No.
It's always the same?
Yeah. I mean, like, if I'm gonna, well, for Art Blank, I'm doing that for UAB Comprehensive Cancer Center, and for that one, like, I have 2 paintings that are just gonna be in a gallery. I might do just a little bit more because they're taking 40% of that, and, painting that you paint that day, I'm probably gonna do a bigger cow that night. Because Amy used to do it, and she's not doing it, and she did cows, and I thought, well, Amy's not doing it, so I gotta do it. And I painted still lifes the last few years, and, that gets, so I thought, well, I'll just try to paint a loose cow, and so, but yeah, so just think about your lines. Do you have some hard lines? Do you have some soft lines? Lose some stuff, and lose some edges if you can. Just a little bit of everything, so.
Yay.
Thank you.
Awesome.
If anybody needs a photo made to go into the directory,
Thank y'all all for coming. This was a great group, and she did a wonderful job.